Is venture capital going to kill your neighbourhood convenience store? Since the pandemic forced people into lockdown, New York, London and Berlin have been flooded with rapid grocery services like Getir, Gorillas and Gopuff. They operate from so-called dark stores, small warehouses in cheap locations away from the high street, and promise to deliver a six-pack of beer, bag of Doritos or a raw steak to your front door as little as 10 minutes after you order from their app. But is this just another case of venture capitalists putting billions into businesses that are never going to turn a meaningful profit? Giles Thorne, an equity analyst with Jefferies, took an innovative approach to finding out. He's previously worked as a courier for Uber Eats and Deliveroo to get a sense of how their businesses worked. This time, he and his team set up camp outside a Getir dark store in London and set about counting how many orders it got.
The idea was, if you turned up at a dark store, because all orders are being fulfilled from a single spot, you just need to go to that spot and count the number of people on bikes cycling out with backpacks on to have a pretty good idea that that was a proxy for an order. And if you spend enough time, if you spend a day, if you spent a week, you can actually build a pretty robust view of what the daily order count was.
And Getir was getting a lot more orders than he expected. Just 6 months after opening, the store was averaging 340 orders per day. Depending on the size of each order, each store could therefore conservatively be making between $4 million and $6 million a year in revenue, he estimates. That could be even more if basket sizes are bigger.
We know from some of the commentary out of the private operators, the pure play dark store private operators, that basket sizes are comfortably north of 20 euros and trending towards 30 euros.
That let him estimate that an established dark store can make an operating profit that represents between 5% and 10% of sales. That compares favourably with convenience stores, which typically enjoy a profit margin of between 2% and 4%. The model can be more profitable because it has some lower costs. It doesn't need premium real estate locations to attract the passing customer, so rent is cheaper. And each store can cover quite a wide area of around 11 square kilometres, so you need fewer locations. But setting up does require a lot of money, at least $1.4 million per store, according to Thorne. The last generation of rapid growth consumer investments were platforms, three-sided marketplaces like Uber, Lyft or Airbnb that connected a customer with someone offering a product or service and took a percentage cut. In theory, it's a business model that doesn't require much investment because you're acting as little more than a catalyst. But in reality, the low barriers to entry have made competition tough and marketing costs high. If you're a dark grocery operator, you're really only competing for the customer. If you're Uber Eats or Deliveroo, you're competing on three fronts: for the customer, for the best restaurants, and for couriers, all of whom might find a better deal with one of your rivals. The initial outlay for dark stores is higher, but once it's up and running, it should be more efficient. Firstly, these companies are burning money on marketing to attract new customers. That's fine for now. They've raised $3 billion from investors this year alone as venture capitalists determined that the pandemic-induced lockdowns were accelerating e-commerce trends. But it's clearly not sustainable for a city like London to have a dozen different ultra-fast delivery companies. At some stage, some will go under or be acquired by their rivals. Finally, and perhaps most significantly, will the growth trend survive the lockdowns? When people are working from home, they can place dark store orders throughout the day. But if they return to the office and orders become concentrated in the evenings, the business case may not add up as readily. Besides, it's easier for commuters to pop into the corner store on their way home. It's pretty clear, however, that dark stores are here to stay. The irony is that if everyone decides it's an attractive business, supermarkets and venture capitalists alike will continue to pile into the space, and the ensuing price war will mean it ceases to be an attractive business. It'll be good for the consumer, but your local bodega might find that its lunch is being eaten by someone else. This is Alex Webb for Bloomberg Quicktake in London.